So I accidentally spilled coffee on my shirt right here. Don't know if you guys can see it on the camera, but we're just gonna ignore that and move on with the video today. So have you ever been in a situation where you had to use two different cameras for one shoot that you were doing? Well, this video may be for you, because in today's video we're gonna be color matching Blackmagic with Sony's footage in DaVinci Resolve. So if I haven't gotten a chance to meet you yet, I want to introduce myself and I want to welcome you to this video today and also to this channel. So on this channel we focus on tech and then we throw in coffee sometimes for the occasional videos. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into DaVinci Resolve, where we will be color matching a few different clips today. Alright guys, so diving right into DaVinci Resolve, the first thing that we're going to do is click this little project setting icon over here, and here we're going to go ahead and set up our project the way that we want it. So in the master settings tab, so today we're going to stick to HD, so 1920 by 1080, but we're going to do 30 frames per second or 29.97. Then we're going to go to image scale and we're going to say scale full frame with crop. So maybe some of these shots were not all shot in 1080, maybe some were shot in 4K, so it's going to go ahead and make sure that they fit the frame for us. We don't have to do that manually. Now the most important thing here is we're going to go into color management and we're going to do DaVinci RYGB color managed. So what this will do is give us a lot more wiggle room, a lot more dynamic range whenever we're grading our footage. And today we are actually going to do DaVinci Wide Gamut. And we're going to go ahead and stick with SDR Rec 709. That's a pretty standard color file that most things use, and so we're going to stick with that. So the clips that we're going to be working with today, we have the A7S3, here's a clip from there, and then we have the FX3, there's a clip from there, and then we have the Blackmagic Raw. We're going to go ahead and dump in these clips right over here onto our cut page. Don't change. I'm just going to line these guys up really quickly on the timeline. So immediately you can see that there is already quite a bit of data coming in with the Blackmagic clip. So like what I mean by that is it's not flat. This was shot in RAW, so all the other clips are pretty flat. You see, pretty flat clips. Now the reason why the Blackmagic RAW clip is not flat like it should be for us to go in there and add in all our own colors is because this over here. So we're gonna go back to this tab over here. I think it's gallery. Since this is a Blackmagic software and this is a Blackmagic clip, Blackmagic automatically input the color space for us. So you can see right here, input color space, and it went ahead and it did Blackmagic Design Film Gen 1. I am gonna hit bypass. So yeah, here's our flat clip like we were looking for, that we thought we were going to get when we opened up. So now that we have the timeline prepared, we have our color space input, we have everything set up the way that we want it to look, it's now time to start the first step, which is exposure and contrast. We have one node up here and we're going to work with that node, and we're going to just stay in our primaries for now. So we have our scopes pulled up. So the first thing that I like to do is I want to pull my scopes down to where they're just right above 0. So to do that, I'm going to go over here into lift, and I am just going to pull that down just like that so that I can start seeing some blacks in my image. So now with that done, I'm actually going to close clips for now so that I can see the image. Now with that done, I'm gonna go over to gain, and I usually like my gain to be at about 896. It depends on the clip. If it's a dark environment, then it doesn't make a lot of sense. But in this case, we're gonna go ahead and add in a little bit of light, like that right there. Just a little bit, enough for us to see where we're at. So now with that being done, the second thing that I like to do whenever I'm doing this is I want to go ahead and add in some color. So adding in color, what it would do is obviously let us know where our colors are, but more importantly, whenever you add color, whenever you add saturation into an image, then you also add contrast. And so by adding in color, just like this, you're gonna see that we're gonna begin to get some contrast. Look at our scopes over here on the side. They're expanding as we add it in. So let's go at about 80. Let's just go to 80 for now. That's pretty good. So yeah, you can see that we just got some contrast. We can now see where our image is a little bit more. And so to me, it still looks a little bit too bright. So we're just gonna go back over here into our gain and we're gonna bring that down. just like that. Now the next thing that I like to do, so we're on step 3 of exposure and contrast, is just to simply add in contrast. So just like that, contrast. So that's pretty good right there. You can still see that there's some highlights, some weird highlight things going on over here in my face, but also on my hat. So we're gonna try offset first. So let's go ahead and pull offset down. And that actually worked very nicely with the shadows in the image. However, it did not select and take care of the part that I wanted to, which is these highlights on my hat and my face. So right over here in highlights, let's just pull that down. Yeah, there we go. That looks a lot better. So we're gonna stick with that clip there for now. It is a little bit darker than I would prefer, but we'll go ahead and mess with that later. But for now, we're gonna jump over into another clip. So that was the A7S III clip. So now we're gonna jump over into our Blackmagic clip. We're gonna close clips again so that we can see our image nice and bright. And now we're gonna do the same thing as last time. First, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get our lift to where we want it to be. So right above 0, right about there. And now we're gonna go ahead. So you can see right here on this graph, you have kind of these extended pieces on the graph. And basically what that is from is this light right over here. So we're gonna kind of ignore that because it's a light, so obviously it's gonna be quite bright. So instead we're gonna focus on the very top of these scopes right here, and we're gonna bring that up. We're just gonna expand that just like that. And now you can see that there are a lot of things going on. First, this image is overall quite darker than the other image it was, and so to fix that, let's just go ahead and bring our offset up. Do the opposite that we did last time. So offset up like that. And then now we're gonna go ahead and add in some saturation to create some more contrast, but to also see where our colors are. So let's add in a saturation. We're gonna go 80 again. I think 80 was pretty fair. We may even go 90. Let's see what 90 looks like. So 90, we're gonna stick with 90. But right over here in my face, in the shirt, it's kind of funny. I'm wearing a pink shirt in this one, and the other one I was wearing a pink hat. But right over here, you can see we kind of have that still weird highlight thing going on. So just like last time, we're gonna go over here and highlights, and we're just gonna pull that down so that we can retain more data from my face and from this shirt. So you can see that made quite a bit of a difference. Now, my face was not lit very well in this shot, which is my fault in lighting, but to fix that, let's just bring gamma up just a little bit, like that right there. And there, so there's that image. So let's go ahead and open up clips again, and let's just go ahead and do this right here, and let's just click back and forth. So you can see we're getting a lot closer as far as contrast and brightness goes. These are looking quite a bit better. So now we're gonna jump into the FX3 clip. We're gonna close clips. We're gonna go ahead and go over here, and we're gonna do fit so that we can see our image nice and bright. And now, just like last time, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. Lift, down, gonna go gain up, bring our gain up. Then we have that weird highlight thing going on just like last time. So we're just gonna pull that back, retain some information. We're gonna go, I'm just gonna type it in this time, 80. And that looks pretty good. Offset, we're gonna bring that down, 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 down. Then we're just gonna bring our gain down just a smidge. Maybe some contrast, a little bit of contrast, not very much. Boom. So you see that if you follow those steps, you can get your image from this to this super quick like I just did. Now with that being said, let's go ahead and see where we're at as far as our clips go. So obviously you can see that the Sony clips are looking a lot more similar in color, but also even in contrast. So over here in this clip, I didn't do as much contrast, and you can see that. Now over here, everything just looks completely different. So this is a Blackmagic clip, so it's supposed to look different. So the first thing that we want to do whenever we're trying to finish up on the step of exposure and contrast is we want to go to a clip that we like the most as far as exposure goes, and then we want to study it. We want to go over to our scopes, we want to switch that to waveforms like you see right here, and we just want to look at where we're at. So you can see that we're mostly right under 768, and then we're right in between 0, and so that's where we want all of our clips. So if we go to the next clip, you can see that we're very similar. However, on the bottom end, 0, it's not as low as the other clip was. See, you see how much lower that is? So that line down here on the bottom is sitting right in between 128 and 0. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. We're gonna move this line a little bit lower by just going to our lifts and bringing it down. So, all right, yeah, you see how easy that is? So we're already off to a good start. So now you can see that on our clip that we said we like, we're a little bit closer to 768 on the scopes. So let's just go ahead and move it up to 768 with our gain. So in gain, we're just moving it up. All right, so that's a lot better. We're looking quite a bit similar. Now you can see that whenever you move up, you then adjust everything on the bottom. So we need to bring that down again. So we're gonna just bring that down just a little bit more like that. Now, look at that. We're very, very similar. Very, very similar. Now you can see over here our blacks are a bit darker, but I think that's just mainly because in this clip I was wearing a lighter shirt. But I still think that our exposure and contrast is pretty much identical. I maybe can come off of the contrast just a little bit on this clip, just like that. Yeah, pretty similar. Now, we're gonna go ahead and again take our reference, and we're just gonna flip between the Blackmagic clip now. So on the Blackmagic clip, you can see that line, first of all, we just get a lot more data with the Blackmagic clip, which is awesome. But you should be getting a lot more data from all the gigabyte storage that clip is. So first we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna mess with our gain. We're gonna move that down to about where the other clip was, just like that. And you can see down here, we're quite a bit higher than the other clips as far as our black point go. So we're gonna take our lift, let's just bring that down, bring it down, just like that. Now, let's do our little flip, 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 flip. So this image is quite a bit more contrasty than this image over here. But to fix that, we can just go over here to our gamma and we can just lift it up. That brings some of that contrast out. Now, I would say that, you know, these images are looking quite a bit closer than before. Now, in this image, there's just a lot of more lights, but I picked this image because even though with all these different variables that we have in this image compared to this one, I'm still going to show you that it is possible to color match these images. Alright guys, and so now it's time to dive into our second step in color matching these clips together. Now the next step is balancing. So what I mean by balancing is we're going to be making sure that our black points are all black and our white points are all white. So the first step in doing this is to create a new node. The way that you do that is on a Mac is Option S, and then right over here we have a new one. So the second thing that we're gonna do over here in this tab is we're gonna switch in our scopes from parade to waveforms. Now, we're gonna go ahead and figure out a way to study our black points, and the easiest way that I have found to do that is to go over to our windows. We're gonna hit our pen tool, and we're gonna select a black spot in our image. We're just going to create a triangle just like this, and you should see this page. If you don't see this page, go up here and hit this wand up here in the corner, and then you should be seeing this. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to expand our scope so that we can see them better, and we can study it right over here. So this is actually pretty well balanced. If it's majority white, then that's great. Now there still is obviously going to be some color on the bottom end, the top end, but overall, this image is pretty well balanced. It looks pretty good. So now we're gonna go back, we're gonna exit out, we're gonna uncheck the pen tool, and we're just gonna check out our next image now to see what that looks like as well. So just like before, we can go ahead and stay where we are, and we're just gonna go ahead and do Control S to create a new node. We're gonna hit our pen tool, and we're just gonna create a triangle on a black image, on a black spot of our image. Again, make sure that there is nothing else but black inside of this square or this rectangle that you create. Again, we're gonna expand our window, and we're looking great as far as black points go on this image as well. So we're gonna go ahead and exit out. We're gonna go ahead and close out the pen tool, and now it's time to go over and check out our Blackmagic image. Now this image over here has a different story. I can go ahead and tell you before we even dive in that this image looks different. We're gonna hit Option S again. We're gonna go select our pen tool, and then we're just gonna draw a rectangle right under this panel. And it looks pretty dark under there. And then we're gonna expand. Yeah, so you can see that there's a different story with this guy over here. Now my selection isn't the best because I'm not getting as bright as a white line that I would like. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna move these points to a better spot in my image so that I can get a better black point to reference off of. Now if we expand this, we can see a lot more going on. This line is not as white as we would like it to be. So what we're gonna do to fix that issue is so simple. Whenever you open up your curves, it's gonna look something like this. So let's go ahead and study our line on the scopes for a second. So we can see that we have a lot of red on the bottom, we have a little bit of blue on the top, and we have some green on the top. So to fix this, we're gonna go ahead and hit this chain icon to unlink them, and let's just manipulate our reds first. So selecting R, we're gonna move the bottom up on the red like that right there. And you can already see that made quite a bit of a difference on the scopes over here. So let's go ahead, go back over to our window and deselect, and let's see what that done. All right, and so if we just kind of switch between these two images, checking them out, our black points are looking quite a bit better on this image. They're looking more black for sure. Now I would say that you can tell that this image is not as much contrasty as this image, so our black points aren't as deep. But that is something that we can go right back over into the first node, and we can fix that. So the way that we fix that is by going back over to our primaries, and let's just add contrast into it. It's that easy. So contrast. And then let's just go ahead and pull our lift down some more. And now you can see that we get some blacker blacks in our image, but to me, looking at this, I'm still seeing some green, which lets me know that we're still not balanced yet on our black points. So going back over to our other node that we created earlier, we're just gonna open up our curves, or actually we're gonna open up our window, we're gonna just hit that pen again, and then we're gonna open up our scopes. And let's expand our scopes so that we can see more data. So just like that, and let's go over here into our curves. Let's select green. Actually everything is looking pretty blue on the scopes, so let's just play with blue and see what gets us the closest to a very white color. Seems to look a little bit better. Now you also don't have to do the power windows as well, so if you just deselect it, you can just kind of go by eye and look at what the image looks like based on just you looking at it. So if I go over here to green, it looks like there's still a little bit too much green in my darks. I can just maybe pull that out. But see, the only thing about going by eye is it makes it a little bit more difficult to match. But if you know what it should look like based on the other image, then you're pretty good. So right over here, I mean, we're looking pretty good in our black points. So the next thing is to go ahead and correct our white points. So find a white point in the image. So let's see. In this image, we can do the t-shirt at the top. So just like before, we're gonna just hit that power window, and we're just gonna move it to our t-shirt, just like that, and we can see that we're definitely not lined up. So just like before, let's just go back over here. Reds is too high. We're gonna go quicker on this one so that you guys can see how easy it is once you know what you're doing. So we're just gonna go to our reds. Our reds are too high. Let's bring them down to match the green. Our blues are too low. Let's just bring the blue up to match the other ones. Boom. We're majority white now. So that is white. So if we go ahead and click off over here, let's see. So let's do it before and after. Yeah, so it basically just added some more blues in. And it actually kind of manipulated our blacks a little bit. So going back over here, let's just bring those back down just a little bit. Yeah, so that looks pretty good right there. That looks really good. So boom, boom. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now the only thing that I would say about the Blackmagic image is you can see that we have quite a bit more saturation in this image than we do in this image. Because I like the saturation in the Blackmagic image, I'm just gonna bring up my other images. So again, I'm just gonna go back over to the first node, and we're just gonna add in some more saturation. There's a few different ways we can do that. I'm gonna start with our color boost. I'm gonna go ahead and do 5 to start off. Alright, we can do more, so I'm gonna go 10, and then on the saturation I'm gonna go 90, maybe even 100. Let's see, so let's go 100. Yeah, we can push it a bit more. Let's cut back to 95. 95 is pretty safe. I'm just gonna duplicate those settings over here. So right there, actually make sure, see I was in the wrong node, so you wanna make sure that you're in the right node. We're gonna go 10, and we're gonna go 95. Yeah, so now we have a bit more in our image. So now in the last step, we're gonna be focusing on our skin tones. So to do that, we're gonna first find the image where we like the skin tones the most. I'm gonna say it's actually over here in Blackmagic. I kinda like the way the skin tones look here. So to color correct our skin tones, the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna zoom in just like before. We're gonna open up a new window. Option S, and we're just gonna draw a power window around our skin tones. So now in this one, we actually have a tool that's specifically made for this. So if you go into your vector scopes, and you may not see what I have, so I'm just gonna reset it and tell you guys how to get there. So first, you wanna do show your skin tones, show skin tone indicator, and then I'm just gonna bring up the vector scopes brightness, so that I can see it more. And there you go. So where the skin tone line is, that's really where you want your skin tones to be. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right back over here like before, but this time we're gonna go into the second tab. So what I like to do is I like to hold shift wherever the biggest spike is, and then go to the surrounding areas, and I'm just clicking down and I'm creating these points. So just like that. And now, to just manipulate our skin tones, all we're gonna do is we're gonna move this to where the line is majority on that line. So just like that, we just moved it up a little bit. So if we turn off these vector scopes over here, that's what we get. That looks a lot better. So let's do it before and after. So if we just click this off, see, it's subtle, it's very subtle. Now in this image it's subtle, but you're gonna see in the other images it's not gonna be as subtle. So clicking over here, we're gonna do Option S, just like before, and we're just gonna select our skin tones, drawing a triangle like so. And now you can see over here we're a lot more yellow, which is what you could obviously see like before. Now holding shift, we're just gonna select the spike, and then we're gonna select the surrounding areas. Just like that. Then we're gonna move this to the center. Looks a little more red. And so sometimes you can't just simply go off of this, because if I just simply went off of that and I move this to the center, it looks way too red on there, and you can see it. And so to fix that, I'm just gonna bring it back just a little bit, because it kind of has this curve on it. It curves off. So now we're just gonna turn that off, see what that looks like. So there's a before, there's an after. So if we click, look at that. Look how much similar those are. Now, there's another reason why these don't look as closely together as they should, and that is because this right here is brighter. Like, the skin tones are brighter in this one. So to adjust that, all we're gonna do is we're gonna go back into our first window. This is why we create nodes, guys, because we're able to go back and forth as we want. So going back over to our primaries, let's just pull down our gamma like that, and then let's go back up. Yeah, see, look at that. They look a lot more similar now. And we're just gonna go ahead and turn back on our window and make a few more final adjustments. I'm just gonna move it up just a little bit more, not much. That's enough right there. Click that off now. Look at that. They are looking pretty darn similar. Now next, there's a few different things that we could do. So we can go in and we can manually do this like we just done, or we can just copy this node, Control C, go over to the other clip. We're gonna go ahead and hit Option S and then Control V. We're just gonna paste it. Now, what we can do is we can go over to our power window and just select our skin tones just like before, and we can just manipulate this image like we did before. So it's already selected on the highest point, just like that. So let's check it out. So if we turn it off, here is a before, there's an after. Now you can see on this one as well, we had that same problem that we did. So we're just gonna go back over to our primaries, and we're gonna pull down our gamma. Give this image a little bit more contrast just like before. We're gonna jump right back over. We're gonna turn on that one more time. We're just gonna move it around just a little bit like before. Let's close it out. I think we're pretty much done, guys. So let's go ahead and do a fit to screen. So let's click between these three images. So if we go from here, the one that I really wanted to get close was the FX3. So here's our Blackmagic clip. Here's our other clip. And that is how you color match your images together. Now, if you wanted to go even further and then go ahead and color grade the image, which is adding your own appearance or your own coloring and looks to it, all you would have to do is Option S, create a new node, bring down your saturation over here, and there you go. You can go ahead and on that new node, add whatever colors or manipulate whatever colors you want it to give it the look that you want. But basically all we did was balance out all the images to look exactly the same. So if you're still watching this video today, I know it was a little bit more of a longer one, then comment below something that you learned. But for now, that's all that I have for this video. Now in a future video, I'm gonna be showing you how you can color match a professional camera like the FX3 to something like iPhone footage, which is something I do quite a bit, and I've actually gotten paid a lot to do it, and people didn't even know there was an iPhone shot. So if you guys are interested in that, hit that subscribe button, like for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.